So today we are going to do a video on hypoxemia and negative feedback. So let's say, for example, you live in St. Louis, which is at sea level. And let's suppose that you were to move to, let's say, Colorado, for example, where they have high elevation and mountains. Up here, the elevation is around 7,000 feet. So what happens is, since Colorado is at such a high elevation, you can get sick. And you can get high elevation sickness, which is actually a form of hypoxemia. And what hypoxemia is an oxygen deficiency in your blood. When you get high elevation sickness, you could become sleepy, experience nausea or vomiting. So when this happens, your kidneys and liver, so let's say this is your liver, and these are going to be your kidneys. What happens is they detect this, and they then secrete what's called EPO. And what that does is promote new red blood cell count to be formed. So what that does is that sends a signal down to your pelvic and sacrum area. And sorry, my drawings are not the best. So let's just say this is your pelvic and sacrum area. What happens next is then they secrete red bone marrow. So this is going to secrete red bone marrow. And what that does is that stimulates the growth of what's called erythropoiesis. So I'll just write that out here for you. Erythropoiesis. And what that does is that's going to give you more red blood cells. So it's going to give you more red blood cells. And once that happens, that in turn is going to give you more oxygen into your back into your bloodstream. And so this is part of the negative feedback loop. And if you have more blood cells and oxygen, then as we mentioned before, the high elevation sickness, which is the form of hypoxemia, you start to feel better. And this cycle generally takes about 3 to 4 days before you just start feeling that. So when you live in a higher elevation, such as Colorado, which you're going to have a much higher red blood cell count than someone who lives in a much lower elevation, such as St. Louis. Someone who lives in Colorado would have a much higher RBC of around 8 million. So 8 million RBCs up here in Colorado than, let's say, someone who lived down here at St. Louis, which is a much lower elevation. They would have a red blood cell count of about 5 million. So 5 million red blood cell counts down here at sea level versus someone up here in Colorado who would have around 8 million. So I hope this gives you a little bit better example of hypoxemia. And the negative feedback loop. Thank you.